In a city that worshipped power and money, no one dared question Edward Crane, the millionaire whose smile hid his cruelty behind the walls of his mansion. His wife, Amara, lived in silence, her bruises hidden behind designer dresses. When she lost her unborn child after one of his violent rages, the story almost vanished. Just another secret money could bury. But Amara's father wasn't a man who forgot pain. What he did next would turn the whole city against its own justice. Watch till the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Amara had once believed in love, the kind that conquers everything. She met Edward at a charity gala where his confidence and charm lit up the room. He promised her a world of safety and luxury, a home where she'd never have to struggle. As a black woman from a modest background, she thought her life had finally changed. For a while it did, but beneath the glamour, cracks began to show. Edward's smile turned sharp, his love conditional. Her friends stopped calling. His circle whispered behind her back. The lucky one who should be grateful. Slowly, Amara realized she wasn't a wife in his world. She was property. Her father, Samuel, noticed the shift in her voice over the phone, the tremble she tried to hide. He warned her, but she kept saying the same thing. "I'm fine, Dad." She wasn't. The night it happened, rain slammed against the glass walls of the mansion. Amara had told Edward she wanted to leave, that she couldn't stay in a house built on fear. His face froze, then twisted with rage. Words became screams, screams became blows. She fell to the marble floor, hands over her stomach, whispering prayers that went unanswered. When it was over, she lay in silence, her unborn child gone before it had a name. Edward called his lawyer before he called an ambulance. Within hours, a web of influence began to spin. The police report was rewritten and the hospital was silenced. It was an accident, they said. The media ran a single story. Millionaire's wife suffers tragic loss. But Samuel knew. He saw the truth in his daughter's lifeless eyes at the funeral. The same city that once praised Edward now protected him. Every door Samuel knocked on closed with polite sympathy and quiet fear. They called it justice, but he called it betrayal. He began gathering information, including bank transfers, witness statements, and secret recordings from Edward's staff. One by one, the threads formed a pattern of violence, corruption, and racism woven deep into the city's elite. Samuel wasn't just seeking revenge. He was preparing to expose an empire, and the more he uncovered, the clearer it became. Edward wasn't just a violent man. He was a symbol of a system that believed people like Amara were meant to stay silent. The night of the charity gala came again, the same one where Edward first met Amara. Cameras flashed. Music played, and Edward stood smiling, shaking hands with city officials. Then the giant screen behind him flickered. Footage rolled. Amara's bruised face, the hospital records, the bank bribes, the servants' testimonies. Every hidden truth Samuel had gathered, displayed for the world to see. Gasps filled the room. Edward froze as his empire crumbled before his eyes. Police stormed the hall. Reporters screamed questions. For once, no amount of money could silence the truth. Samuel watched from the back of the crowd, tears mixing with quiet rage. His daughter's voice, long silenced, finally spoke through justice. The man who thought he owned everything had lost it all. Edward was arrested, charged not only for abuse, but for the crimes his wealth had long buried. The city trembled, shaken by what it had allowed to grow behind closed doors. Amara's story became a symbol of resistance, of truth, and of how profound injustice can run when silence protects power. Samuel didn't celebrate. He stood at her grave, whispering that justice had come, though too late. But her story now belonged to others, Women who feared speaking, fathers who'd lost daughters, voices ignored because of color or class. Sometimes justice doesn't roar. It whispers through those who refuse to forget. How many more stories like Amara's will it take before we stop calling it tragedy and start calling it what it is? Where are you watching from? Take care.